Yotsuya Yusuke is an antisocial junior high student that loves playing video games. While discussing with his teacher regarding his plans for high school, Yotsuya is suddenly transported into another world, but is surprised to see two of his classmates, Shindo, a popular magazine model, and Kusue Hakozaki, a sickly girl who often skips classes. The Game Master or GM, a large man with missing the upper half of his face, suddenly appears and explains the rules. Commands are given and must be cleared. The first task is to complete the village chief's task. A new person will join their team every week until there are 10 of them. He then reveals their classes: Shindo, a wind wizard, and Hakozaki, a sword-wielding warrior. He then spins a wheel of fortune to decide Yotsuya's rank, which lands on farmer, much to Shindo and Hakozaki's disappointment. Afterwards, Yotsuya asks Shindo for an explanation. She replies she was brought to this world first, completed a quest all on her own, and returned to the real world safely. She was then tasked by the GM to befriend Hakozaki. The next time Shindo returned to the other world, Hakozaki was already there. In Yotsuya's case, they were tasked with being left alone with him. On the way to the village, they are attacked by a band of goblins. Yotsuya tries to attack the goblins with his sickle, but his weapon breaks instantly. Shindo attempts to use her wind magic, but it only summons a small gust of wind. Yotsuya pins his hopes on Hakozaki, but she is too afraid to get close to the goblins, and she throws her sword at them instead, to no avail. Yotsuya tries attacking with his hoe as a last resort, but even that is destroyed, and he is killed. He is afraid at first, but finds that he is revived after 30 seconds, and he yells at Shindo for not telling him that this would happen sooner. He then has an idea, and tells Shindo to kick up a gust of wind, blinding the goblin, allowing him to stab it point blank with his broken hoe. While resting at camp that night, Yotsuya asks Shindo what would have happened if they all died at the same time. Shindo says that if that were the case, then all of them would also die in real life. To Yotsuya's horror, he asks what the reward for completing the quests are, and she replies that you are allowed to ask the GM one question. Shindo and Hakozaki ask the GM, "Why me? And who are you?" With the GM answering, "This was commissioned by someone you know and I'm from the future," respectively. Yotsuya takes first watch, and takes the opportunity to investigate the surrounding area. But when he returns, he finds a troll has killed Hakozaki and is eating Shindo. He grabs Hakozaki and runs, but Shindo does not revive, presumably because she was eaten. The two arrive at the village where they are hailed as heroes, and the village chief asks them to kill the troll. Yotsuya is initially despondent, but he later smiles ominously, remarking that this place is still better than Tokyo. A day before they arrive at the village, Shindo, Hakozaki, and Yotsuya discuss what they want to do for high school. Hakozaki says she'd like to study medicine, so that she can help others like her, but Yotsuya does not pay attention. Back in the present, Yotsuya goes into the forest at night to kill goblins so that he can level up, but he misses the final goblin, just as he is about to level up to 10. He wonders if there was any way to switch his class. While touching a log point, a magic circle that when touched, replays memories of the area, he gets an alert that Hakozaki died. He looks towards the village and sees it aflame. He realizes that the troll could be responsible, and he rushes over, not knowing what would happen if they failed the quest. He arrives at the village, and touches a log point, showing a memory of Hakozaki practicing swinging her sword, as she tells a village boy that the reason she is trying so hard is because in the real world, she must undergo several expensive medical procedures to stay alive, and she doesn't want to be a burden on anyone. It then shows her attempting to defend the village from the troll, but she is killed. The memory moves Yotsuya, who reflects that he does not care about anyone at all, both in game and in real life. He runs away from the troll, but quickly realizes that he cannot outrun it forever. Right before he is crushed, he spots the goblin he was not able to kill earlier, and he throws his wooden shaft, killing it and leveling him up to 10. Time stops, and the GM appears. He spins the job wheel again, which lands on Chef, much to Yotsuya's exasperation. However, he now has a knife and has gained anatomical knowledge of certain monsters, including the troll. The game resumes, and Yotsuya cuts through the troll's body, reviving Shindo and Hakozaki. They begin their counterattack, but the troll is too resilient. Yotsuya enters the troll's wound and stabs it from the inside, while Shindo blows a gust of wind into the troll's head, killing it. The GM appears again, and Yotsuya asks his question: "What will we do after we clear all 10 quests?" The GM shows them a video of the 3 of them in the real world, where they battle a dragon atop a building in Tokyo. They return to the real world, where no time has passed at all. Shindo thanks Yotsuya for his help, and she goes to her club, while Yotsuya walks Hakozaki home, where he awkwardly tries to maintain a conversation. He wonders that if he fails to complete the quests, then Tokyo, the city he hates so much, could be destroyed. Yotsuya receives a call from the GM, telling him to hit on a girl, the success of which affects the outcome of their next quest. He is instructed to go into a nearby high school, where he finds a bespectacled girl being bullied and stripped by 3 other girls. He grabs their phones and destroys their belongings, and escorts the girl home. He asks her why she was being bullied, and she says it was not bullying, but revenge. While on a livestream, she said that she knew a girl that would only act cute with boys around, and her friend thought that she was talking about her. That night, Yotsuya is transported back to the game world, where as expected, the girl from earlier is also present. The GM appears behind her, revealing her name to be Yuka Takatake. He spins the job wheel, and her job is Fire Wizard. The revival time has also been increased from 30 seconds to 40. He gives them their quest to explore 5% of the map while bringing cargo to a nearby town. While walking through the forest, a giant insect corpse falls from the sky, and a giant centipede emerges from its corpse. The centipede tosses pillbugs towards them, which kills them instantly, except for Hakozaki, who has run away. Yotsuya identifies its weak spot on its back, and he begins cutting off its legs one by one, until it can no longer move. He then helps Hakozaki swing her sword, killing it. As they camp for the night, Shindo, remembering her troubled past, asks Yotsuya to help her. Shindo reveals that when she was young, she was bullied, but she was helped by an older student, whom she admired. However, the older student killed herself soon after, being a victim of bullying herself. When Shindo entered high school, she was once again bullied by teachers for being part of a biker gang family, but her friends defended her. She realized early on that her friends were her strength, and you can change your fate with your own hands. She asks Yotsuya to lend her his strength, while Hakozaki and Yuka overhear them. They arrive at the village they saved, but it is in ruins. A passing trader tells them it has been years since then. They learn from him that their target city, Reidorbo, is 3 months away on foot. He informs them of a martial arts tournament to be held in the nearby town of Cortonal, where the prize is 3 horses. However, on the way, they are attacked by bandits. Yotsuya tries to fight back, but realizes that attacking humans causes their levels to drop, and they are forced to escape, but Shindo stays behind to fend them off, and she is captured. Yotsuya coldly suggests that he go to the martial arts tournament, while leaving Hakozaki and Yuka to rescue Shindo, which causes the 2 girls to think badly of him. The 2 girls go to rescue Shindo, but they are easily captured by the bandits. Yotsuya is aware of his comrade's capture, and while killing goblins along the way, has sufficiently leveled up to get a new job, a creature wizard. He arrives at the martial arts tournament but is defeated nearly instantly. He asks of the knight who defeated him, Kabul, if there was any way for him to get 3 horses for their quest. Yotsuya shares information with the local captain of the guard regarding the bandits' lair, but he says that he can only provide Yotsuya with a single horse. Afterwards, Kabul offers to train Yotsuya's swordsmanship, but he has a hard time, having no talent for sports in the real world either. That night, the city guards and Yotsuya attack the bandit camp, routing them, but the bandits release a huge berserker, which is able to match Kabul, but she soon grows tired. Yotsuya jumps in to save her and uses his creature magic to persuade the berserker to look behind him, distracting him long enough for Kabul to kill him. They rescue Hakozaki, Shindo, and Yuka, who are distraught to learn that Yotsuya died in the first round. Because their party only has a single horse, Kabul proposes that she and her guards escort them to Reidorbo, on the condition that upon arriving, they will retrieve their horses, and that Kabul will train them in swordplay. Yuka, who has lived her whole life trying to study medicine for her sickness and her mother, finds her identity and morals shaken as she observes the death around her. As the group camps for the evening, Yuka confides in Shindo about the death she witnessed earlier, while Yotsuya cooks for everyone. Kabul approaches them and says they should begin their training soon. Yotsuya explains that Kabul is a bit of an oddball. She loves to hack away at flesh, which she can do to the heroes since they revive anyway, which worries him and Yuka somewhat. When Kabul finishes training Hakozaki, they learn that goblins are in a nearby area, while Hakozaki doubles down on her training, wanting to be strong enough to protect everyone. The group later encounter another group of goblins, and the heroes advance to engage them. While the rest of the group do well, Hakozaki is initially hesitant to kill a goblin, but when she sees Kabul run towards her, she works up the courage to stab one. She tearfully breaks down, apologizing to the goblin for killing it. Later that night, Shindo congratulates Hakozaki for killing her first goblin. Hakozaki asks Kabul why she enjoys cutting flesh so much, which she gleefully explains in detail, disturbing the heroes. The next day, they encounter a caravan being attacked by kobolds, so Yotsuya and Hakozaki go and intercept them. They are quickly overwhelmed by their superior numbers, but Hakozaki eventually works up the courage to fight back, luring in a kobold, then equipping her sword near instantly, killing it. The rest of the group arrives in time to help them, and as they tend to the wounded, they find that the caravan was carrying pagans to be executed at Reidorbo, which causes Yotsuya to wonder if the people are the cargo they were supposed to bring as part of the quest. But if they do bring them, then they will be killed. They learn that the caravan is from the Deok Empire, a tyrannical state that wants to take over the continent. Unsure if this incident is related to their quest, the heroes decide to bring the pagans and children over to Reidorbo, and then save them from being executed, which still fulfills the conditions of bringing the cargo to the city. Yotsuya learns from a missionary, Falsel, that he hopes to have a boy, Bariri, escape. He explains that the Deok Empire has outlawed their religion, Arteros, after recent riots caused the destruction of images of King Deok. They next talk to Camlet, the lieutenant from the Deok Empire, and ask why he goes to such lengths to execute the pagans. He recounts that as a child, his father returned home from a war as a cripple, making him a target of ridicule. However, the current king, Deok V, began allocating slaves to families with war casualties, which turned things around. This angers Yuka, who points out that attacking smaller countries to take slaves is no different from bullying. Camlet threatens her, but Yotsuya and Shindo calm him down. The group find themselves at the foothold of a valley and travel underground, where they encounter a water-operated mechanism that operates the bridge. The Deok group tell them to go first while they operate it, but it is a trick, and the heroes are trapped. The group advance through the dangerous bridge anyway, with Yotsuya leading the way, but he falls down a pit and is trapped. The rest of the group advance without him, as Yotsuya says he will find a way out on his own. However, when the group emerges from the tunnel, they meet face to face with a terrifying golem. Yotsuya climbs out of the pit after using his knife to carve footholds into the stone, while remembering his past as a longer in elementary school. He makes his way through the darkness and finds a log point showing the death of Bimsberg, one of Kaval's companions whom Yotsuya befriended. Meanwhile, the heroes on the outside fight the golem, where they see a key hanging by its arm. Kaval and Shindo fight the golem, but Kaval is killed, to Shindo's horror. She turns to retreat, stepping on a vampire bat, leveling up just before she is killed. Her job changes to warrior, and she charges the golem. She remembers her training with Kaval, and she stabs the golem through the heart, killing it. Yotsuya finally arrives, and when he learns Kaval has fallen into the water below, he dives after her and begins healing her. She later awakens having survived her injuries, while Yotsuya collapses from exhaustion. Kaval kisses him while he sleeps, and she is seen by the other three girls. Kaval explains that she and him are alike, trying to find what they are good at in this world and for what purpose they have, so that they can die, content with their life. Yotsuya awakens in a fit, and he tells the group that they've been going about the quest all wrong. There's a possibility that the pagans are not the cargo, as all the quests thus far, such as fighting a goblin or helping the village chief's request, were all open-ended and open to reinterpretation. Yuka says that they should save the pagans anyway, while Yotsuya suggests the group split up. With 7 days left to complete the quest, they split into two groups, Team A, composed of Shindo, Hakozaki, and one of Kaval's men. Makua will find another piece of cargo to transport to Reidorbo, while Team B, composed of Kaval, Yuka, and Yotsuya, will go and rescue the pagans. Kaval informs Yotsuya and Yuka that one of the Deok soldiers earlier sent a report back to their headquarters, and they suspect that the letter may incite a war between Deok and Cortonal. She wants to avert a war, as they would no doubt be annihilated, and Yotsuya comes up with an idea. They track down the Deok soldiers and the pagans, and Yotsuya says that only he and Yuka are left alive. He threatens that if they do not release the pagans, then he, an immortal hero, will go around the entire continent and preach the Arteros religion. Camlet and his men know that they stand to lose a lot more if they don't give up the pagans. However, they realize that even though heroes are immortal, they can simply capture them in a cage or a pit. Yuka emerges and offers to show them where Yotsuya is. Camlet and one of his men follow Yuka, while the remaining soldier stands guard. Yuka lures Camlet away, while Yotsuya executes his plan. He knocks out the guard and tells the pagans to get rid of their clothes, and they create dummies out of them to make it look like dead bodies. When Camlet realizes Yuka's deception, they return to their camp, only to find it in flames. Yotsuya tells them that he only came back to have revenge for their fallen comrades, and he sets the last Deok guard aflame. He and Yuka steal their last remaining horse, and they escape. All according to Yotsuya's plan. Camlet will realize his plan to delay the heroes at the cave led to this whole debacle. They return to where the pagans are, and they thank Yotsuya and Yuka for saving them. Later, Yuka asks Yotsuya if he believes the world they're in truly is just a game, and she shares her misgivings about having to kill other humans, even if it is just a game. He replies he's just doing what he thinks is necessary to help Kaval avenge her men, which satisfies her for the time being. In an internal monologue, he remarks that worrying about the deaths of non-player characters is a waste of time, as it is revealed he dropped 2 levels for killing the Diok guard. Camlet and one of his men arrive at their abandoned carriage, where they send a letter to the king regarding their failure and of the hero's revenge. However, Kaval appears and kills the last of Camlet's men, as Camlet himself is left in a state of confusion over what the truth really is. Kaval tells him to pick up his weapon and fight, and she tells him that the pagans are alive and well, while his subordinate was painfully burned, bringing him to a state of despair. She cuts him down and executes him. The king has received Camlet's report, and now aware that the heroes are against him, instructs a hooded man to find a way to kill them. Meanwhile, Shindo, Hakozaki, and Makua finally find a courier to escort back into Reidorbo, but it already has an escort. The man challenges them to a fight, but Shindo defeats him handily, and they guard the courier back. Later, Yotsuya, Yuka, and Kaval prepare 3 sets of cargo to deliver to the city. Yuka notices that Kaval appears flustered around Yotsuya, and she guesses that she wants to confess to him. She makes efforts to try and get them alone together on their trek to Reidorbo, but all of them fail or backfire. While camping, it turns out that all Kaval wanted to say was to give her thanks to Yotsuya for giving her the opportunity to avenge her men. Much to Yuka's exasperation, their group is the first to arrive at Reidorbo, but the first 2 pieces of cargo they deliver, the pagans to the church and the weapons of the slain Diok soldiers, fail to complete the quest. They give their final piece of cargo, the heads of the slain Diok soldiers, to the local guards, which is sufficient to clear the first quest. Shindo, Hakozaki, and Makua soon arrive as well, and the group reunites. With only 1 day left, the group splits up to complete the other quest, explore 5% of the map. Yotsuya and the others split up to cover as much ground as possible, and they initially make good progress. Kaval and Makua stay behind at Reidorbo, and Kaval reminisces about Yotsuya and their farewell the day before. She misses him, but she decides her place is at the battlefield. She notices that snow has begun falling, and Makua tells her that a blizzard is approaching. The heroes are suddenly met with a furious blizzard, and each have moments of self-reflection. Yotsuya is able to bundle up by equipping all his collected tops, and is able to keep himself warm, and worries if they are able to clear the last few portions of the map they need within the few hours they have left. He suspects that this time, they won't be able to revive, as the revival conditions only happen if they are able to resurrect in a hospitable place. He realizes if they die of hypothermia, then reviving means they simply die of the cold again within seconds. Yaku is left with just her robes, and she begins freezing. She longs for a romantic experience, similar to the mobile dating games she plays. She notices she is the only one constantly stopping, so she picks herself up and continues. Hakozaki is also battered by the cold. She is thankful for the experience thus far, as it has given her a chance to do things she's never been able to do before. Shindo is also struggling through the blizzard, but she recalls that her friends are her strength, and when she was initially summoned to this world, she was alone, and so she was robbed of her strength and confidence. Because of this, she is thankful for her friends now, and has regained confidence to keep on going. However, disaster strikes. Yaku and Hakozaki have succumbed to the cold, and when Shindo realizes she has been walking in circles for the past few hours, she, too, falls in despair. Yotsuya is aware they have stopped, and he tries to cover the last few kilometers of ground himself, or else they all die. However, a Yeti appears and attacks him, but he is able to kill it, and sees it was simply defending its young. He continues marching, but the ground below him gives way, and he falls off a cliff. He fears that this time, they might all die for real. Yuko awakens and crafts a makeshift shelter. Inspired by a magical girl anime she watched as a child, she begins to travel onwards. She recalls that, in order to survive, she clung on to strong individuals, and she sees no reason why this is such a bad thing to do. Meanwhile, Yotsuya died after falling from the cliff, but resurrects after his body ended up in an underground tunnel. He explores the caves, and he is initially afraid of the earthworms that inhabit it, but they turn out to be harmless. Hakozaki realizes that she can no longer revive due to the hypothermia, while Shindo, while running towards the lights of a nearby village, dies after falling through the cracks of a frozen lake. This alarms Yotsuya, but soon, he too is killed when he is eaten by a man-eating worm. Yuka is initially in despair when she learns all 3 of them have died with no way of reviving, but she remembers how she badly wanted to be a magical girl in the past. With newfound courage, she casts a heating spell with the last bit of her magic. She is encouraged by the image of a boy from one of her dating simulations, as well as the magical girls from her childhood anime. Just as she is about to reach her wit's end, she is saved by a sorceress riding a white tiger, who sensed her cast her heat magic earlier, and she gives her a ride across the tundra. Yuka realizes she only has a few seconds left, and when the sorceress learns she is in a hurry, she casts wind magic that allows them to fly across the sky, clearing the quest just in time. Yotsuya, Shindo, and Yuka are relieved to be alive. Yuka is initially prideful that she cleared the quest, saving everyone. But when the GM appears and is given an opportunity to ask her question, she asks if this world a virtual world or a real one. The GM answers that this world is real, but it is a parallel world. He explains that every choice in human history has given birth to an unlimited number of parallel worlds, meaning that every person and monster in this world is living flesh and blood. Yotsuya is paralyzed, realizing that he killed a human being. The group return to the real world, where they make use of their experiences and skills from the other world. However, Yotsuya remains antisocial due to the trauma from killing a human, though his physical abilities have improved. Yuka has also begun playing light sports, a vast improvement. Shindo is worried about Yotsuya, especially after learning from Yuka that for their plan to save the pagans, he had to kill a person. On the way home, Yotsuya receives a text from the GM, asking him what it felt like to kill a person. This troubles him, and when he arrives home, the GM, taking the form of a young girl in a straw hat, is there waiting for him. Yotsuya answers his question by saying that even though the Deok Empire guards had their reasons for abandoning them in the cave, he still regrets killing one of them, and had he known they were real people, he would have decided against killing them. The GM talks about the next player, whom he wants Yotsuya to meet. They go to a Chinese restaurant, where the GM informs him that the man sitting by the counter, a drug dealer, will soon be killed by the new player, along with his little brother, Shuji. The player's name is Keita Torii, 19 years old. He bursts into the restaurant, along with his younger brother. Yotsuya defeats them easily, and reasons with Keita that killing is wrong. The mafia boss who hired Keita enters the restaurant, and threatens Yotsuya with a gun. The GM offers Yotsuya a chance to use his magic from the parallel world here using a magic glove, which he accepts. He uses his mind control magic to stun the mafia boss, knocking him out. He lets Keita and his brother escape, but the GM invites Yotsuya to talk once more. The GM tells him now that Yotsuya stopped a murder, how does he feel about killing another person? Yotsuya says that he is only fighting for his own sense of justice, and he will continue to do so, no matter what anyone says. And this brings the anime to an end. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on another video. Until next time, take care.